Hello everyone, welcome to Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2, Psych 10004. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Dr. Chris Groot and I am your coordinator for the subject. Generally, you'll see me facing the other way in this office. I've got my streaming computer and camera and setup behind me there. But in this video, I want to take you through the Canvas site for Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2 and through the student manual. And so I've got my main computer over here that I'm going to be looking at. So we're going to go through all of this together. The purpose of this video is to give you an introduction to Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2, to let you know what to expect and to get you oriented to the Canvas site, which is going to be the hub of our activities for this online semester together. So let's start with a little bit of an overview of Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2 so that we can be crystal clear about what to expect. Now, before I start, let me just minimize my camera here quite a bit. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the traditional owners of the land and traditional custodians of the land upon which Melbourne University sits. This university, which granted we're all accessing virtually at this point in time, has a long history of teaching and learning far before the university was ever there. The university sits on the grounds of the Wurundjeri people, and I'd like to pay my respects to elders past, present, and emerging. What you can see on the screen here is a little link to an app called Billabellari's Walk. And Billabellari's Walk is an interpretation of the land and its cultural context that has been produced by the University of Melbourne. You can see the links here to the app that you can download. And if you'd like to also hear a little bit more about the, I suppose, educational significance of land in the Australian Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander culture, then I'd encourage you to watch the YouTube video that you can see a link to there. That's a vlog that I shot along with one of our other staff members, Dr. Meredith McCaig, a couple of years ago now, where we went and spoke with an author about this very issue. But this is a great way for, I think, us all to engage with the Aboriginal heritage of the Parkville campus site, and we can do this online, which I think is really meaningful and makes something like acknowledging country actually something quite significant and meaningful, rather than just something that people would say out of habit at the start of a course, for example. So there you go. There's something that you can follow up on. Okay, so let's have a look at what we're going to achieve in this lecture. I'm going to try and keep it as brief as possible, because you're going to be seeing a lot from me. Not only am I one of your lecturers, but I'm your coordinator for the subject, and you'll see me via live streams and hopefully chat with me via live streams every week. So, after viewing this lecture, you're going to know all about the online lectures. You're going to know all about the psychological research methods modules. You'll know which are an important part of the course. You'll know about the timetable and important dates. You'll know what you need to do to complete the subject. You'll know about assignments. I have a homework task that I'm going to set for you today. You'll know about something called the Research Experience Program, and importantly, where to find things on the Canvas LMS. So let's get in and start by talking about lectures. So lectures are the um, are the types of classes where we deliver the core content for the subject. This is where we talk about the core examinable content. So obviously, we're not sitting in lecture theatres in the era of COVID-19. I and the other lecturers will be pre-recording our lectures and uploading them to Canvas, and you will be able to watch them on Canvas at any time. They will be scheduled to be uploaded on Tuesdays and Wednesdays every week during semester and every teaching week. I'll clarify that when we have a look at the timetable. And each one of these lectures will go for approximately 50 minutes. And this is where you'll do, I suppose, this is where your core study for the semester will come from. Certainly the lecture content, all of the lecture content will be examinable, and you will be able to find the lectures online in the Canvas MBB2 site in a section called Lecture Capture, and I'll show you where that is when we do our Canvas tour. Practical classes are different. Practical classes you have to attend every week with two exceptions. Firstly, there's no class in week 1, and also there will be a week, the week of the grand final holiday, where we do not hold classes. We're expecting that to be the week of the week that has, I think, Friday the 24th of September at this point in time, but it's changing according to the situation with the AFL, and we will play that by ear. Everything else is locked in. So practical classes aren't so much about delivering core pedagogical content, but it's more about extending what we've talked about in the lectures, exploring what we may have touched on in lectures and that we've given you a core reading to explore about, and acquiring skills, having discussion, exploring practically together. And again, we can't do this physically because of COVID. Everything is online for Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2. So this means that you'll be doing your practical classes online through Zoom. Zoom is a video conferencing software package that you have free access to through the uni. We'll give you all the directions you need in due course, and you will meet every week, except for week 1. You'll meet every week with your tutor and your fellow practical classmates, and there'll be about 24 or so practical classmates in your practical class that you meet and you discuss and you work with every week. We'll be working on assignments, we'll be working on skill acquisition, we will be preparing you for exams, we'll be doing some fun experiments. The practical classes are really useful. So, and in some ways, you know, again, very much, I think, a fundamental piece of university education. Certainly the lectures are where we, again, think about knowledge development, I suppose, and the practical classes may be more around skill development and so on. You can see a picture of Caitlin here. Caitlin Gourlay is the practical class coordinator, and I might just even shrink myself a little bit more here so that you can see the remaining text on the screen. And Caitlin, believe it or not, because we have about 2,000 students in this subject, that's right, about 2,000 students are taking Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2, Caitlin has the job of coordinating all of the tutors who teach the practical classes. And the tutors are all postgraduate students in the school. They're studying for a master's or a PhD degree. And there will be probably about 40 tutors working on the class, on the subject, because there's just so many students. Very popular subject. let's have a look at the timetable and some of the other staff that are on the roster. So I'm going to just move myself out of the way here. And here we can see what is going to be coming up for the lecture series for the semester, and also the practical class series, and you can see the staff who will be lecturing you. So we can see me with more hair and more beard up here, and I will be teaching you for the clinical psychology component of the course. This is what you'll be doing first. This is what your assignment will be about. So we're going to be talking about mental health and mental illness and what we'd call clinical psychology in this first part of the course. I think you're going to find it really interesting. Next, we've got Abby Brooker, Dr. Abby Brooker, and Abby is a developmental psychology expert, and she's going to be teaching you all about developmental psychology. Next, we've got Katie Greenaway, who's a social psychologist, and she will be taking you for social psychology. So that's Dr. Katie Greenaway for social psychology. And then we bring out the big gun at the end, Professor Nicholas Haslam, or Nick Haslam. And Nick is probably the most prolific academic psychologist that I know, certainly an expert in everything from clinical to social to personality psychology and more. And we're just so lucky to have Nick on the first year program. So he will bring us home with the personality psychology section of the course. So my bit is about mental health and illness. Abby's part is about psychological development across the lifespan. Katie Greenaway is going to lecture all about groups, how we behave and think and feel in the context of groups. And Nick, I suppose, has the opposite of that and is more about individual differences rather than group dynamics and what makes you and different to somebody else. So let's have a look at the practical class schedule. You can see that there's no practical classes in week 1. You can see that we're going to open up with an introduction, which is going to help you get oriented with the practical class program and introduce a little clinical content there too. ALM refers to the assessment literacy module. This is a hurdle. A hurdle requirement means there's no points associated with it, but you must complete it in order to be eligible to pass the subject. So again, you have to do this. You can't pass Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2 and not do this hurdle requirement. So this is, and it's not something that's meaningless. It's actually really meaningful. We're going to teach you how to use marking criteria to improve your writing of what's called a lab report. A lab report is a report, an assignment you'd write about research, a research project that you conduct. And we are going to conduct an experiment in Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2 on all of us. And I'll tell you more about that later in this introductory lecture. So the assessment literacy module sets you up to be able to work on the assignment, which comes next in week 5. And, well, I should say we'll be working on the assignment in classes in week 5. Your assignment itself is not due until September 21st. That's in week 8. So you can see down here, Monday, September 21 at 8 a.m. is the deadline for the assignment to be completed. You can see the previous week, you must complete your research methods online modules before attending your practical class in the week of the 14th of September, week 7. The research methods modules are online brief videos and quizzes that deliver some content about our journey into what we would call inferential statistics and research methods in psychology. And we'll talk about that in due course. It might sound really scary, but don't worry, it's completely fine. You'll be completely fine. And it will be very warm and fuzzy, I promise. So at the moment, we're planning not to have a practical class in this week 8, but we'll see what happens with the grand final and the AFL, and it may end up getting scheduled somewhere down here. The semester break is quite late this semester, and that just is what it is. So there you go. There is your semester timetable in a nutshell. So I started talking about the assessment literacy module and what you have to do in order to pass the subject. And that's true. There are certain things that you need to do. And here they are. So to pass the subject, to pass Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2, Psych 10004, you need to complete the written assignment. And there's just one assignment. So one assignment, it's worth... Yes, 40% of your marks. Sorry, I just had to check myself there. And it is tied to my component of the subject, the clinical psychology component. So it's related to mental health and mental illness. And that's all I'm going to tell you right now. I will tell you the precise topic of the assignment halfway through week 1. But until then, I'm not going to tell you, and this is for a very important reason. I need you to do an online experiment first before I tell you what the assignment is. If I tell you beforehand, it will ruin the experiment. So we'll keep that a secret, but you will know midway through week 1 what the assignment is. To complete the subject, you'll also have to sit the end of semester exam. This is going to be an online exam, just like we did with Mind, Brain and Behaviour 1. If you've done that in semester 1 just now, we did an online open book, multiple choice, timed exam. So people had 3 hours to complete the exam, well, actually 3 hours and 15 minutes, including reading time. There are 120 questions. This is what we believe at this point will be the format of the exam for Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2. I will give you updates as soon as I have them, but that is what I expect the exam to be. You also need to, when you add up the marks from the assignment and from the exam, and potentially 5% credit that you can have attained from the research experience program, which is a program where you get to participate in online research to learn about research methods in psychology and to gain credit towards Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2 in the process. So there's 5% there. If you add that together with the exam and the assignment and you get 50% or more overall, then you pass the course. But to be eligible to pass the course, you have to do all of those things and you have to attend a minimum of 8 of the 10 Zoom practical classes that are scheduled for the semester, and you have to complete the assessment literacy module hurdle. If you do all of those things, then you pass Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2. So, speaking of the research experience program, let's have a look at that. So again, this is where you get to participate in psychological research and you get to learn, again, about how research is conducted. Psychological research has some really fascinating ways of working, and this is a great way to learn by being a participant. I frequently volunteer to participate in research projects, and part of that is for me wanting to assist people who are doing research, but part of that is also because I'm interested in how people are doing the research that they're doing, how they're phrasing things in their surveys, what types of scales they're using in their projects, and so forth. It's a great way to learn. So, importantly, you can get up to 5% credit. So, a credit in the REP system equals 1 hour of participation. So, if you commit 5 hours, you do 5 hours worth of participation, you get 5 credits in response. This is not a hurdle requirement. This is optional. It is, I would say, even fun. It's a really fun, interesting opportunity, but it's not a hurdle requirement. You do not have to do this. There is 5% credit on available if you would like to do it. If you would prefer not to do the REP and to do another written assignment, an additional written assignment to obtain up to 5% credit, then that's something you can certainly do. You need to let me know in the first 2 weeks of the semester, and you need to read the student manual for more details about that. The REP portal can be accessed through Canvas, and when we do our Canvas LMS tour, you'll be able to see where you'll be able to do it. You can sign on with your university student ID. We've got single sign-on for the REP system, and once you've done that, you will be able to explore the advertisements that are there for the studies that are available and get started with REP. The last day of the semester will be the completion deadline for REP. Cheers. But my advice to you is to get started really early in semester. Pragmatically, there will be fewer studies available later in semester than there will be at the start of semester. There will be sufficient studies and credits available for everybody, all 2,000 and more people in Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2 to obtain that 5% credit. But you want to go and get started now, because the opportunities will just dry up at the end of semester as people finish their research projects. Okay, so I mentioned psychological research methods, and this is one of the core topic areas for Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2. So while we saw lectures that will be delivered for clinical psychology, for developmental psychology, social and personality psychology, there are also things to learn for research methods. And the research methods are presented as modules, micro lectures, and quizzes and recommended readings that can be found on Canvas in a dedicated section in the modules page. If you've done Mind, Brain and Behaviour 1, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you've not done Mind, Brain and Behaviour 1, I have included all of the Mind, Brain and Behaviour 1 research methods content to help you get started, as well as the new modules for Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2. You will explore practical skills. You'll develop practical skills in research methods in practical classes, and you would have seen that in the semester timetable. You'll learn to use some statistical software, and for those of you who did Mind, Brain and Behaviour 1, you will learn how to use some new software this semester. We won't be using SPSS. We will instead be using JASP. So JASP is a new program that we're using for the first time here in the School of Psychology, and I'm just so excited about it. SPSS was okay. It was sort of okay a few years ago. We've made the decision to go with a better option. JASP is easier to use. It's a wonderful program. Everyone who works for me in my research lab uses JASP. As the saying in the lab goes, JASP Queen! It's a wonderful program. It's free. You can go to this website and you can download it for free. All yours. So you don't need to worry about that whole My Uni Apps thing anymore, which was very clunky and buggy with SPSS. Here you can go and grab JASP for free. So go and do that. Just have a tinker around. And there is a free program for you. And JASP are very excited to have us on board. Okay, let's talk about the assignment next. So remember I said I was going to ask you to do an experiment, and I am. So the assignment for the semester is a lab report. A lab report is a research report that's structured in a very particular way. And I'll talk to you so much more about this in due course. We won't get into it now, but just so you know, that's what it's going to be. The topic will be clinical psychology. There's homework required. I'd like you to go to this link. So I'm putting these slides on the LMS on Canvas. You will be able to access this link. I'll also put it in an announcement today. Please go and do this as soon as you can. It's a very brief survey. It will take you maybe 2 minutes, if that. There's 7 questions that you need to, or I'm asking you, I should say, to complete. And it is themed around mental illness and mental health problems. And if you find in the doing of the survey that anything comes up for you around mental health problems, then that's something you could certainly contact me about. I think you'll find the survey, my anticipation is, and my hope is, that you won't find the survey distressing. Once you do the survey, you'll probably understand what the assignment is going to be about, but please just keep that to yourself and let the other students go through and do the experiment, not knowing what the survey is about. Do the experiment, and basically what we're going to do is to do this survey twice, 2 times. We'll do it before we start our mental health lecture series and tutorial program, and then we'll do it again afterwards, and we'll consider if we have changed in the way in which we are, if we measured ourselves on something as a group over that period of time. So we're really considering in this assignment our own learning in this teaching program. Interesting. So please do that survey as soon as possible, and then I will release the assignment brief, the topics, midway through week 1, as you can see here in the assignment section of Canvas. I'll live stream during that week, and we can discuss it as well then. Okay, so Canvas. I want to talk to you about the Canvas learning management system. Oh, there's an artifact here. MBB2 was a Canvas pilot subject last year. Canvas is new to the university, so that's an artifact. We're, of course, using Canvas now, so let's have a look at Canvas. I'm going to move my PowerPoint display out of the way. There we go. And now we are looking at Canvas. So this is the Mind, Brain, and Behaviour 2 Canvas site. When you log into your student portal and you go to Canvas and you go to Mind, Brain, and Behaviour 2, this is where you're going to land. There will soon be some announcements here. You can see here it says recent announcements. There's nothing there because I'm just about to open the site. I've not announced anything yet. So I'll put a welcome announcement there. And you'll see the most recent announcements appear here. I think the most recent 5. But you should always make a habit every time you log into Canvas to go to this section here, which is the announcement section. And there's nothing there now, but this will have all of the announcements that have been created during the semester for the subject You need to pay attention to these announcements. I can't stress how important that is. This is where I will give you all of the important information that you need to know. All of the important information that you need to know about the assignment will be forthcoming, or the exam, or anything to do with Mind, Brain, and Behaviour 2 will be forthcoming through here, through emails from me to you. In fact, I will also email these announcements to you, and also through my live streams. Please come along to the live streams. I give a lot of information about what's going on in the live streams. The weekly time that I set aside to consult with you and to answer your questions, and to also, it's a great opportunity for us to all get together and to be a group. And sometimes we just hang out and chill out and talk as a group, which is a really great thing to do. You don't know it yet, but you're a part of something special in this Mind, Brain, and Behaviour community. There's a lot of people out there with very similar interests, and we're all doing something, I think, special together. And I think you'll start to get a sense of that in the first few weeks of semester. I should also point out that this is actually my view. So you're seeing things here on the screen now typically that you won't see when you log in, because students have fewer options. So just to go back to this home page really quickly, you can see here that I've also copied in the semester timetable here, just to have it somewhere else so that you all know where it is. I've given some starting references to places to go in the Canvas site. The subject manual is a really important thing to look at. So if I open that, here we go. This is the subject manual that I have prepared for you. It has got all of the information that you need about the subject. So you can see here that we have got the staff. You've got my social channels there as well. We've got the school's social channels here too. There's a lot of activity that goes on that you can just enrich your university experience by engaging with beyond Mind, Brain, and Behaviour 2. And a lot of it will be attached to or relevant to Mind, Brain, and Behaviour 2. Definitely keep up with the school's social channels. I hope you keep up with mine, and that way we can interact outside of classes as well. We've got all of the staff's lecturer details there in terms of emails. We've got the timetable again. We've got information about lecturers, tutors, about the subject. Here we've got information on learning outcomes from each area of the subject, information about textbooks. You don't need to buy any textbooks for Mind, Brain, and Behaviour 2. A lot of you will be going, what? I thought there was a textbook. But no. I mean, yes, there is. Here's the thing. The Introduction to Personality textbook by Nick Haslam is prescribed, but is also available through the library. And I've already set this up through what's called Readings Online on Canvas. I'll show you in just a bit. So you can certainly buy your own copy if you want, but you can also access it for free. The statistics for behavioral sciences text, this is also available through the library, and I have set that up in Canvas already. You can buy your own copy if you want to have your own copy. There will be other prescribed readings. Each lecture series will have a core reading that it sets as core examinable material in addition to the lectures, and I've got mine set up already. I'm not going to show you what it is just yet because it's related to your assignment, and again, I don't want to spoil things, but it's going to be in something that we haven't used before. It's something called Perusal. Well, we haven't used it in the first year program. So Perusal is a plugin for Canvas where you'll be able to go in, look at the reading that I've set, and I've already been through it and I've started to annotate the reading, and you can see that I'm highlighting things and I'm drawing your attention to what I think about what the author has said in the reading. And you can respond. You can click on my responses, and you can respond to me with a comment, and then I can get back to you. You can highlight something and say, oh gosh, I don't understand this. Can you explain this to me? And I can go in and I can respond to your question. So it's a way that we can explore the reading collaboratively, and it's a great way to learn. So I'm really excited to be using Perusal with you this semester. So anyway, the manual has got this all laid out. Lots of stuff there. Please go through and familiarize yourself with the details of the manual. And as you can see, we've also got some references to sources of mental health support as well. So to go back to Canvas, here we are. Your lectures will... let me go into student view for a second. So this will simulate a student view. This is what you'll see when you come in. Your lectures will be in here. So in here, in the modules section, there are already some modules here. And you can see here that we've got a subject information module. And this is where you can access that manual that I was just showing you as well. There's also links here to the undergraduates and graduate diploma student manuals, lots of admin and policy related content in there. If you're new to the university especially and you've not read these manuals before, please do your due diligence and go and read these manuals. Everything around late penalties, word count penalties and so forth are all included in there. There's links to support services here. Here is where we can get into the research experience program. So if I click on that, you can see here that I've written some instructions and provided some screenshots to step you through getting started with the research experience program. So remember, you can get 5% credit for this. Go and check this out when you can. This is where Perusal is. That's that collaborative reading thing that I was telling you about. Also, while we're talking about modules, in the not too distant future, you will see, oh, actually, I'm going to hide these. These are old lectures from personality psychology. We'll hide those. This is where you can come to see your research methods modules. Here are your research methods modules. So when you go in here, you're going to be able to see that we've got slides and readings and so forth, and there's going to be a little video which you will be able to watch. And my internet's just running very slow at the moment. I think my bandwidth has been taken up by others in the house that are maybe watching Netflix or something like that. But that's where you can watch the videos and complete the research methods modules. This is where you'll find the slides and content for my clinical psychology lectures and all of the other lectures in due course. The actual videos will appear in Lecture Capture. That's this section here. In Lecture Capture, this is where the videos of the lectures will be in due course. You'll click on that and go in through there. Piazza is something new. Piazza is our discussion board this time around. For those of you who were with us in first semester or who have used the Canvas discussion board previously, you'll know that it is less than ideal. The Piazza discussion board is much better than the standard Canvas one. So this is what we'll use. Unfortunately, bandwidth is not with me right now, but one of the first things you do when you log into Canvas, please come on in, look at Piazza, and come on in and say hi. I've already left some messages in there, and we'll wait for that to go, see what it does. This is where you can go to your Zoom practical classes. This is where you'll be able to go to that collaborative readings online thing that I talked about. So in due course, please just explore. Go and have a look at the REP and get set up there. Go and start looking at research methods, modules, jump into the Piazza discussion board. Play with perusal and talking. I'm going to call them the 3 Ps. All right, we'll leave Piazza alone then. Oh, sad face emoji. The 3 Ps of Mind Brain Behaviour 2 are going to be Piazza, perusal, and everybody from Mind Brain Behaviour knows what the third one is, don't you? Yeah? Peerwise. Peerwise is another tool that's going to appear here in the not too distant future, and that's where you'll get to go in and work with your classmates to create rehearsal or practice multiple choice questions to help you study and prepare for the exam. While we're looking at the internet and while I've got some preloaded pages, I mentioned that I live stream regularly, and that is true. So for Mind, Brain and Behaviour 2, I'm going to be live streaming every week, at least once a week, and via my YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube, go to the Dr. Chris Groot channel, and you will find a range of old videos that are there, but there's going to be fresh ones coming every week, and I will be checking in live. I'll be telling you on Canvas, but come on in. If you subscribe and click the little bell icon, you'll know when I go online. So if you don't have a YouTube account, go and register for a free YouTube account, and you need to register to be able to participate in the chat discussion while I am live streaming, which I'm wanting you to do, and I hope you will want to do as well. So please go and sign up for a YouTube account if you don't have one already, and come and engage with not only me, but your classmates as well via YouTube. If you watch any of these recent live streams, you'll get a sense that it's really a community that we build in these subjects, and these live streams are as much about you interacting with each other via the chat as it is interacting with me. And we've just been set up to, I've just prepared to up our live stream game a little bit this semester, and you're actually going to be able to join in the video stream as well, and I'll tell you how to do that in due course. You can also come and interact with me on my Facebook page. This is my at Dr. Chris Groot Facebook page. Just look that up in Facebook and add me, and I am frequently adding things like this. This is a really interesting post that's very relevant actually to our first couple of clinical psychology lectures. So drop by and have a look at this one. And of course, this was written by Professor Nick Haslam, and one of his PhD students is also a tutor in the program. Shout out to Fabian, wonderful tutor. Those of you who have Fabian this semester are really lucky. We've got some links here to some new mindfulness and resiliency courses that the school has just put out to help support people maintain well-being during the COVID crisis. So there's lots of stuff always going on here. I have partner mental health organizations in the field, including art galleries, and in fact we're doing something with the DAC Center in your clinical psychology section of the course. So there's always stuff to see here. In fact, if you want a little preview of something you'll see in the clinical psychology course, come and click on this link, and see what Sophie has to say about her experience of mental health issues. So Sophie here is one of Sane Australia. Sane Australia is an organisation that supports people with complex mental health issues. And Sophie is an ambassador for Sane. She has lived experience of mental health issues like anxiety and depression, and personality disorder and eating disorder, and trauma-related experiences. And she talks a little bit about her experiences in this video, and you'll see more from her throughout my clinical psychology component of the course. So what we've done there is complement, I suppose, what I'm telling you in terms of the clinical content with the voice of people with lived experience of a range of mental health conditions. And lastly, you can also find me on Twitter. So if you want to see me interacting in particular with other people in the mental health sector, or if you want to interact with me as well, this is a great place to find me. I am frequently speaking with other people in the sector and with students. In fact, I probably do as many student-facing tweets as I do sector-facing tweets. So come on through. And my hope is that you will engage with me and vice versa, and each other around mind, brain, and behavior too, and beyond, as you go through the semester, and then even beyond the semester as well. All right, so let's bring our... in fact, I think that's basically it. I can show you my funny slide. Here's my funny slide. Are you ready for my funny slide? Here it is. This is my process. This is what I usually say to students once I've taken them through a tour of the campus discussion board, the announcements, the live streams, the emails that I send out, the subject manual, etc., 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 having pointed out that these are the channels through which I'm going to repeatedly put out the important content. Make sure you check those channels. Otherwise, when I get inundated with questions that indicate that people clearly haven't paid attention to anything, this is my process. It begins with poo emoji, sort of goes to exasperated face emoji, then crying emoji, and then wine. Or something else. Cheers. So, that aside, I think that's where we will end up this introductory tour of Mind, Brain, and Behaviour 2. I hope that you have found this to be useful and that you feel a little bit more oriented now to what to do with getting started in Mind, Brain, and Behaviour 2. I will have lectures coming up in week 1. I'll be live streaming in O week and in week 1 and every week after that. So go and get one of those YouTube accounts and make sure you come along to the live streams and take advantage of that time to interact with each other and with myself and stay up to date with everything that's going on. And get all of those interesting tidbits and morsels that you wouldn't get in the lecture, and that opportunity to discuss and contextualize and so forth. Milk this university experience for everything that you can. That's my advice. So thank you very much for joining us in Mind, Brain, and Behavior. Did I say 1? I meant 2. Mind, Brain, and Behavior 2. It's so great to see so many students out there are just interested in psychology and learning about things like mental health and personality psychology and so forth. And it's just always gratifying to see that we've got over 2,000 students in the subject, for example. That's really good news. So I do look forward to collaboratively creating Mind, Brain, and Behaviour 2 with you. And I will see you very shortly in video and in Canvas. All right, take care, everyone, and all the best for Mind, Brain, and Behaviour 2.